While that last video rendered, I played around with the settings some, changed the colors, and you can see I changed several things. The idea is for you not to just replicate what I do. To do something yourself, watch out for making the number get too large, because you can really blow out all the detail and overload the program. Lots of vectors. Hey, it's broken, it won't do anything. Well, maybe you have generated too much geometry. Just a thought. So right now, I want to use one of these. And you can notice the PDF's preview, just like a regular file here in column view. I'll go ahead and drag that first one down just because it's smaller and I can show you something there. What you can right click on this and say open with Illustrator. You can open with Photoshop as well, but I want to show you how Illustrator can really be a friend with these things. So you notice that here's our prior one. I'm going to go ahead and close that, and I don't remember what I did to that. So, oh, that's a PDF. I'm going to put don't save. If I would have just hit Command S, bad things. Because once you make changes to this, this is a PDF. You want to save this as an Illustrator file. So Illustrator will continue to save those PDFs. Photoshop will immediately convert this thing to raster, and all bets are off. It'll save it as a PSD. So one do save as, Shift Command S, File, Save As, not save, save as, because we want to change this format from PDF to Illustrator, and we want to save it in the exact same folder with the exact same name. Sometimes I'll put the letter A here, hit the right arrow, and put an A just to indicate this is the first iteration of what I'm doing with this file. Because what I do next is going to change things, and sometimes I'll have a B, C, and D as well. Naming conventions are important because pretty soon you're going to have hundreds of files in this folder if you use it. And if you don't name these things correctly and save them all to the same directory, you just can be lost in space. Trust me, I've worked on literally thousands of these over the past few years as kids have been making these. A lot of fun. Okay? So now this is an Illustrator file. Now we're safe. Remember how I got rid of that little diamond in the center, that circle in that other one? If I want to get rid of it, I can hit this twirly, and I could pull this out if I wanted. I can't really see that, so I am going to pull out the layers just so it's remembering how big I made it, and then untwirl this. Oh, it's inside a clipping mask. This is great. This was a wonderful accident. See how everything is nested inside. Layer 1 has a clipping mask, and inside the clipping mask are all these shapes. So right now I'm going to twirl that shut, come out here, and like I told you before, select it by clicking on that path, and then right click, release clipping mask, click away to deselect, click on that path, you got that selected, hit delete. Now we can just select these guys. And the magic that just happened, if I untwirl this, there's no clipping mask. There's no nesting. So now we have everything here, and I can come down here, and if I want, I could delete that. But for this one, I'm going to go ahead and leave it just to see, because right now that little geometry in there might be interesting. So I'm going to leave it. And once again, I'm going to grab this little layers thing, come down here until this entire little box is highlighted, and then drag this over, put it back where it was. Now we can work on this. And the first thing I typically do, select everything, come up to the stroke, because the stroke has different colors involved. That question mark says, hey, there might be different opacity, different colors, different something. I don't know. But I change them to white, because I like how it interacts in Photoshop. This is not necessary. You could change it to black. You could change it any color you want. You could not change it. It's completely up to you. And then I go to the size and keep it nice and thin, 0.25 pixels. And remember, PolyMesh didn't have a 0.25 option. But now we've got it here. Now, before I copy and paste this into Photoshop, I don't really like that green and this purple together. Would it be nice if there were a way to change all those colors at once? Now, if you're working a little truncated version of Photoshop, you don't see this icon probably, the Recolor Artwork icon. So click on that green button, get Illustrator full screen like I've told you to do. So we're looking at the same thing. Click on the Recolor Artwork, pull this thing down, and notice that there's black in here? Really? This is showing you all the colors in the art. And I'm wondering where black is. That's weird. So here are the colors, and if we want to change, I want to change that green. So we'll see when you roll over, it says double click to edit color. Now, what if this were something completely different? And I don't know, will yellow work? We'll see. If I click OK, that's the new color there, and you can see the yellowish color in the center, which doesn't really work. How about some red, huh? Let's come up here and pick something, say OK. And then we'll click OK. There's no undo for this. Warning, Will Robinson. But the cool thing is, because we didn't overwrite our PDF, the original colors are back there in the PDF. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file. See how the asterisk appears? Asterisk. And then copy this, Command C. Now all I've copied is this right here. And it's not that large. So when I jump over to Photoshop, I want you to notice this file here, and I don't necessarily want you working this big because this is just wasting file space. This is 3000 by 3000 pixels. Hit cancel. Hit Command N. And for this one, I do want it a little larger. So how about 1500 by 1500? And then I'm going to hit Command 0 just to fill this screen, and then Command V. In order to paste a smart object, always, 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 okay, when you're coming in from Illustrator, because I can scale this thing. And when I click to drag, oh no, hold down Option. Don't hold down Shift because Photoshop changed, and now if you hold down Shift to constrain proportions, it actually lets you do terrible things to it. So just Option in Photoshop. I'm not quite sure why Adobe did that. Probably because they're sick and tired of people stretching the pizza just like I am. And then hit Return to place that smart object where it goes. And now you can see we've got these cool lines, we've got this cool geometry, and what's going to come of this. Right now, I'm going to hit Command S to save it, and I'm going to the last place I saved, which was where my other Circle Mesh files are. I'm going to go back to Output. This is going to be my most recent one, and this is where Circle Mesh is. And remember how I told you with Illustrator, if you click on it to give it its name, Illustrator remembers. If you click on a PSD, it says, I'm an Illustrator file. I stay AI. Photoshop goes, okay, I'm Illustrator. And all you do is come down here and click on Photoshop, click on it again, and it's a PSD. Don't type it. Don't type it. You'll get a corrupt file. Always use this format drop down to change these files. So now notice Circle Mesh 0, Circle Mesh 1, and then our 0A version in Illustrator and our 0A version in Photoshop. This allows, if we work on different versions of the same PDF, this allows us to keep our files straight. I can't stress enough to you how important that is, because down the road, if you like these generative apps and you don't save these things intelligently, and I try to help you work on a file, wow, that's really cool. Hey, go back. Let's see that PDF and that Illustrator that went along with it, and you don't have those files together. I'm just going to walk away because that's disappointing. All right, you got it?